again, this is our decade plus 1 year in review. Top 5 wrestling moments, matches, issues, events, whatever you want to be, of the past 11 years. Go, Ken, give us one.
So I'm going to go first with the Women's Wrestling Revolution. I feel like whenever that came in, whenever the 4 horsewomen in NXT started, I don't have dates. I know that some other people.
You don't have to have dates. I don't have dates either. I don't even know.
Okay. So I really think that once, like, you know, the Paige and Emma match in NXT for the NXT Women's Championship, and then really kind of kicked off also with, you know, Charlotte Flair and NXT and those women really starting a new wrestling revolution to make it not a Divas belt, to make it more serious wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was a huge thing for professional wrestling, and really also, I think, you know, around that time period, you really started seeing the rise of women being taken seriously. I mean, Shimmer was around before this, but I really think that it got more eyes on good women's professional wrestling.
It shows you that they can win a match and not just have to be there for eye candy.
Exactly. And they can wrestle well. Like, you can watch a good match.
Yep. All right. Brock, can we go next?
I'll play off of that a little bit. I have Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair as the main event of WrestleMania 35.
Yep. That was a big deal. That was a good match, too.
Yeah,
it was.
It's a big build for Becky Lynch and her rise as the man.
Top babyface at the time in the company.
Oh, yeah, by far.
And it really, like, get her getting punched in the face by Nia Jax and having all that blood and her still talking.
Yeah, that was a great moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Becky had a good run. My one, I'll start off with one on here, is the release and the launch of the WWE Network.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big game changer. I mean, we used to always have to do the buying of the pay-per-view and the renting of it and all that stuff. You know, do you want to get Mania? I mean, when you open the door to $9.99 a month and every pay-per-view included and everything on it, the events, the matches they have on it, it really was a game changer for all of that. You know, it was a huge deal. I mean, it was the beginning of a lot of that for a lot of different openings for stuff. Next, Ken.
I have I think a moment on Monday Night Raw where a lot of smart marks and wrestling fans really rejoiced, and that's June 27th, 2011, and that's the CM Punk pipe bomb promo.
Nice.
Yep.
And I think that we watched that, and I was like, holy shit, the stuff that he's saying right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, talking about, like, things that everyone thinks now still about the company and how he
10 years later.
I still watch it like once a year on YouTube.
Yeah.
It'll pop in my head or it'll pop in my feed and I'll be like, oh yeah, let's watch this again, you know.
It's so, like, it's so heartfelt. Like, it reminds me of what a good promo could be. Whenever you're like, oh shit, he's just cutting this incredible promo on CM Punk, and it just goes off. And CM like, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, and I'm not gonna say that, you know, all of a sudden, you know, the WWE didn't realize what was happening. I'm sure some of it was scripted, but I don't know. I just think that it's a promo that I think lives on for a long time. That and Jay Lethal versus Ric Flair's two of the top promos of all time.
When was that? That was earlier.
That was probably like 2007.
Yeah.
I'll Google it real quick while Brock.
All right, what do you got next, Brock?
I'll play off of that. The Royal Rumble 2014, CM Punk's last match. And that's only because I was at the Royal Rumble that year, and I only have one more of the big four to get to, and that's Survivor Series. I've been into a Rumble
before he quit.
But that was
Who
just
eliminated at the Rumble?
Kane, I think.
Kane was trying to pull him out because he was supposed to be eliminated and he wasn't leaving, and there's all kinds of, if you listen to the, you know, Colts podcast about it, they kind of talk about it. Jay Lethal Ric Flair promo is June 8th, 2015. That can't be right.
No.
That must have been when it was updated.
Yeah. All right, my next one I have is the debut at Survivor Series of Sting in WWE.
It's
Um, I always wanted to see Sting there. Never thought it was going to happen. He signed the video game deal, and I still kind of thought, well, maybe not. And I wasn't expecting him to show up at that moment, and I thought that moment was very iconic for him. Stepping out in the WWE pay per view, seeing him in the ring, in the WWE ring, it was amazing. I liked it. I thought it was a really good one. Helped Cena win. I don't like that Sting lost in the WWE, but I did enjoy his small little run that he had while he was there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ken, what do you got next?
I have a moment that I was probably the last time I was shocked, truly shocked at something happening while we were watching it all together and the energy that we were all like having together. And that's when Seth Rollins cashes in at WrestleMania for the championship.
Yep, that was amazing.
That was great. I think the energy, like him coming in, because we were so disappointed with that Rumble.
Yeah.
I just wanted, I mean,
that Mania.
The Mania, because we didn't want, and Seth already wrestled Orton that night and took the most awesome RKO.
Yeah,
that's
he was
the
done.
night that, we're like, oh, he's done early,
They did a good job of taking that out of your mind.
Yes.
You were like, oh, Rollins got destroyed by Orton, so he's done. I don't have to worry about. You're not worrying about him anymore.
Yeah.
And you never thought he's in a ring with. Everyone thought it was the night where like either Lesnar's winning or Reigns. This is Reigns' night to like Roman Reigns' night to get the championship and be the.
We wanted that belt off Lesnar so bad, but we were like, on Reigns and everyone's gonna hate it.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, there is a third option. We didn't realize it. When he came running into the ring, we got so excited.
And then like the end of it where he's like whipping the belt around and all the pyros going off, and it also set up such a great Seth Rollins heel run with that belt. Like him with the authority and stuff. It was good. It was just a good.
Yep.
It was a good storyline for WWE at the time. So.
Okay. Brock?
I have a similar one to that. I'll keep feeding off Ken's. I have Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, thus ending the streak.
I had that on mine as well. So
we were all kind of shocked.
I have that. I have WrestleMania 30 as a whole because that was also the same night the Yes Movement started. So I think it's a very pivotal WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I think that's the night that Daniel Bryan beat Triple H, and then went into the match, the triple threat match, and then won the belt. So for a lot of reasons, it was it was a very much changing of the guard for WWE that night.
Yeah.
Ending the streak and Daniel Bryan stuff.
The streak ending was another moment. We watched it together and we were just stunned.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Because you always saw him kick out.
Yep.
You'd always see him get down to the, even when he fought Triple H and Michaels and all that, and you were like, oh, he kicks out just at the last second. You thought it was coming, and then I thought, like, wow, that's another F5. Is he really going to kick out? I'm like, oh, shit, he just lost. It was crazy.
There's that guy in the front row. His eyes bugging out a little bit.
It was one of my more stunned moments, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was also a moment that as soon as it was done, I knew I didn't want that to be the way it ended. Like,
me too.
With everything Brock Lesnar's done, like, it just was rough. But
that's what Undertaker feels the same way. He's like, there's so many other people he wanted to do it for Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched that all sessions with him. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, it was a bad one. Yeah. Next for me, I have, which maybe this is going to be number one on one of your other lists, but to me, it was the first episode of Dynamite because I was there.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing. It was, the relaunching of wrestling on TNT. A lot of energy that night. Great night. That was a huge moment, which launched, pretty successful new wrestling platform that I feel is going to be around for a long time.
Agreed. Now, I kind of, that was AEW, and like I had the Rise of Bullet Club on here originally. That kind of like an All In. I know Brock said on the earlier podcast he kind of has it on his. I don't know if you changed it, not to spoil.
I still have it on there.
Okay. it's just such a huge deal to show that like someone else other than Vince McMahon can have wrestling on a major level. So it's exciting.
All right.
So I have All In,
Uh,
which we really don't need to talk about anymore.
No, All In was amazing. Yeah.
What was cool about All In is all the other promotions worked together. You had guys from Impact there, you had guys from New Japan there, you had Ring of Honor guys there, you had freelance guys there. You know, you had a little bit of everybody. You had people you never saw before there in that Battle Royal and stuff. It was really just seeing that cooperation, which again, like I said on the other show, we're probably never going to see again.
Yeah.
But it was cool that actually happened, and it was a solid show from top to bottom. Not a bad match, so even the one involving a celebrity. So
yeah, he did good, Arrow. All right.
I do have one other thing that I kind of put on my list. I had it as an honorable mention, but I took it off because I knew that you guys were going to talk about AEW and All In. But I feel like Kofi Kingston winning the championship at WrestleMania is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Being the first African American to win the championship at WrestleMania, like in that run that he went in to get a title shot and all that build to it was just. I think that the Seth Rollins in the modern era of WrestleMania, like after the CM Punk John Cena stuff, but this like new age of younger guys, like that's like the next, like one of the top runs for championship going to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And like Kofi, like the whole like support of the crowd and like how emotional all those guys were. And like, you know, I listened to the New Day podcast and they talk to other African American athletes and writers about that day. And it was such an important day for them, you know, as a community.
Yeah.
For what was happening for finally, you know, because it's sad to say, but it took till like, you know, whenever he won the belt for an 2019 for an African American to win the WWE Championship is kind of absurd when you think of all the great African American stars that they had.
Is that at Mania or just in general? Because The Rock won it.
But he's Samoan. I think that's kind of like the thing. He's they're
black and Samoan, yeah.
But I think that
Mark Henry had won the world title.
Booker T won that as well.
Yeah. But none of them had the WWE Championship, which is what made it special, I think.
I had another one on here. Shocking returns things. One of my favorite shocking returns that I never saw coming was when The Rock returned in 2011, 2012.
Okay. Yeah, that was good.
He was going to be the host of WrestleMania. They said they had this like special host because he had been gone for a while, and I don't remember there being a lot of buzz of people knowing that. And they did a gimmick where it was like a girl getting out of a limo, and I was like, "Is this Stephanie or whatever?" And then like long drawn out drama, but like the lights went out, and then his music hit, and the place went fucking insane. Like, I haven't seen a pop that crazy in a while. I mean, that pop still is it always comes up on one of the biggest pops ever. I mean, no one was expecting it. And that's when he started his whole feud with John Cena and all that stuff.
My number one is the being the Elite New Year special from 2019, how it ended the last frame where Hangman Adam Page turns his phone around and it has the All Elite Wrestling logo on it.
Yeah.
And it kind of ended with that. Like that was their unofficial announcement, and like I actually got kind of emotional. Like finally, somebody else is going to step up and do something other than this monopoly we've had on pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So number one, because I think it changed the game for everybody.
I think before that, which is also leads into that, I think the Jericho Omega match was big too, because that was like the beginning of it, where you saw a major WWE guy going over there, and he was still kind of, he wasn't like under contract with WWE, but he was like just on TV. And then it started that whole like feud, Alpha Club stuff and all that. That brought a lot of attention over there to Kenny Omega and people of that nature, that he was fighting Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more, Ken?
Nope, I'm all tapped out.
I had two more on here that I wrote down as like honorable mentions. One of my favorite Raw moments, which I never realized how much of a CM Punk fan I am until I go writing these things down. But I like when after he left for like 6 months or a couple months and was fired, or he took the belt with him, And then Cena beat Rey Mysterio on Raw to win his like 11th championship, and that's when he debuted the Cult of Personality music. It started playing, and no one knew what it was, and he came out with the belt, and that place went insane again too. I mean, and Cena lifted his belt, then Punk lifted it higher, and it went off the air. That was a great moment on Raw.
I was going to put the Money in the Bank where they wrestled the belt for the belt, and the one where he was going to, if he won the belt, he was leaving with it because he was under contract. He's like, oh, it's never going to happen, that was always a great, that pop in Chicago too, because that was in Chicago when he won it. Like, it was just a perfect storm of good booking at the time.
Other than the pipe bomb, one of my favorite CM Punk promos is when he knew he had to fight The Rock, like The Rock was getting a title shot at the Rumble, and he came out with Paul Heyman and cut like a 10-minute promo on how everyone sucks and all your heroes are losers and you don't get the win. And I mean, it was great. Like, cause like you knew The Rock was probably gonna come out, but like he did such a good job of like even I at the end with that was like, God, shut up. Like he was mad at him. He's like, you don't win. This isn't a feel good moment. He just kept going on and on and on and on. Finally till The Rock's music hit and everyone was like, yes. Like, come on, shut this guy up. You watch it now, like, Christ. CM Punk was brilliant. Like to do that. The way he put him up.
Is that the night where he said The Rock's arms are too short to punch God?
Yeah, all that stuff. He was cutting that like promo. He was just, you could tell he was annoyed because he had to have that match to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, you suck," and he was like, "This isn't a scenario where you win. Heroes don't exist. I beat all your heroes." He was like, "Doesn't matter." He's just going on and on and on. Finally, to The Rock's music hits, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the promo where The Rock, because I've watched the end of that where he's like, he's like, you can take a swing at the kid, but then you're going to realize your arms are just too short to box God. I was like, oh jeez,
It really was good. It was good. It's kind of shame he went away the way he did. All the things he could have done,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The last thing I had on here, I just had one more thing to mention on here. We talk about shocking moments at pay-per-views like the Rollins cash-in and all that. A recent one, not too recent, a few years back now, that really stood out to me of like, we didn't see this coming at all, was when Goldberg beat Lesnar in like a couple seconds.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we thought they were going to have like another terrible match. It would go a couple minutes, but Lesnar would probably beat him, maybe Goldberg, but like that match starts, Lesnar pushes him into the ramp, Goldberg spears him, and then Heyman's going crazy. I just watched this again the other day. He spears him again, and Heyman's like losing his mind, begging him then, going, please, please. And then he gives him his jackhammer or jackknife or whatever that is. And it's just over. And I remember all of us in a room, we were like, what the fuck? He just struck Lesnar, who hadn't been beat by anybody in the longest time. I mean, because he had just lost the belt, but Rollins beat him, he pinned Reigns.
Yeah.
So to that point, we were like, no one's pinned him since he's really been back, and that was a shocker. That was kind of crazy.
It was, and it was. It's sad that like we can only think of a handful of good, surprising shockers from WWE in the last 10 years, but
they kind of Goldberg out after that. But that was cool. All right, well that's about it then. We'll wrap this long show up. Take us out.
All right, everyone, please like, share, subscribe, invite, tell your friends, and have a great evening.
Later.
Later.